This is an SM Media production.
Hi folks, welcome to your weekly episode of the SM Media Pro Wrestling Show. I'm Scott Pitt. It's a pleasure as always to be your host, and I'm joined by my co-host as always, Scott Young.
Hi Scott, cheers for Amazon. I am looking forward to this one, definitely.
Yeah, we've changed it up a wee bit. We've obviously the past couple of weeks we've had the Survivor Series and then with the incredible CM Punk news, but we're going to change it up. We're going to have a wee bit. I think this is going to turn into a wee bit of a friendly debate because we've called the show the State of AEW Address. And I think we have differing opinions in AEW. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think it is fair. I'm a lot more on the positive side, and I think I think you stand more on the other side of the debate. So I think it'll be good. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I mean, let's like the whole kind of thing I've got with AEW is very simple. Is that I don't think they're ever going to be number one against WWE, but I don't think they know that. I think they still they think like Tony Khan in particular, and I'm a fan of AEW, but I do think that they set the bar for themselves way too high because yes, they can sell out 80,000 seats at Wembley, but I think any big time promotion with big names is going to do that. I don't think that's an AEW thing. I think if if New Japan did a show at Wembley, they would probably sell close to that. I think. I think more the thing I've got with AEW is that they're so far behind WWE in terms of longevity and quality of coverage. I would say quality of content. That I think if they kind of realise that they were solid number two and just stuck to good creative instead of trying to chase WWE's coattails, I think it would be a good product. But I just think they're setting the bar way too high for themselves and they're underachieving.
See, the words quality of content are the interesting ones there. Because, see, if you're into your ratings and your tendencies, which I think we'll get into, because that's quite a big bit of this at the moment. If you look at comparing the two, I think it's fair that WWE's miles and miles ahead. Because they sell out random SmackDowns every other week. They sell out Raw. They sold 18,000 at the All-State for Survivor Series. But I still think week to week AEW is a better product. Like, I think if you look at, I think later on in the year, probably in a couple of weeks, we'll do our awards. I think a lot of mine are AEW based. Like match of the year is my AEW match of the year. Spoiler, it's Osprey Omega from Window. I haven't seen a better match than that this year. And
Not even MJF and Danielson at Revolution.
Again, another AEW match.
Yeah, no, that would probably be my match of the year, actually.
And then you look at Swerve. I think the rise of Swerve Strickland comparing his AEW stuff and NXT stuff, it's night and day. In NXT, you had Hit Row, which was alright, but it was never going to be a main event gimmick, to be honest.
No.
And in AEW, he's been one of, if not the best heels in wrestling, other than Christian Cage, another AEW wrestler. So I still think if you actually watch both companies, I think AEW is a better product. I think they put on better matches. I think MJF's a compelling character. You don't know what he's going to do next. I think his babyface run hasn't. It's been good, but I don't think it's hit the same level it was when Cole was fit.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's kind of went down a bit since Cole went off injured. But yeah, I think MJF's up there for Wrestler of the Year as well. So I think quality content, AEW is probably the better company at the moment. But if you look at numbers and on paper and stuff like that, then they're quite clearly second best.
It's more when I say quality of content, what I'm kind of thinking of is WWE. If we had a bad WWE, still calling pay-per-view, but premium live event, if we had one where there hasn't been something to kind of go off it, where you're thinking they're setting so many records. You know what I mean? Survivor Series, I think, was a record, non-WrestleMania in Chicago. That's a big audience, and it's an audience that AEW has coveted for a while. When WWE go in there, I wouldn't say Survivor Series was a top class event, but it was fit. It was a good event with good matches, but it sets all these records. It sets all these attendances. WWE are going into. They're able to go into. Do you know what I mean? The O2. They're going to France. They're going to Germany. They're doing the Saudi pay-per-views. They've got more of an international feel, and that's obviously through time. But WWE are more I think WWE are more focused on now, and I've not said this about WWE in a long time. WWE's got more of a long-term vision, whereas AEW, I just don't have that feeling at the moment. Like, I don't. The roster's way too crowded for a start, and we'll get into that because I think that's a big issue I've got with it. As you've got all these guys and you don't really know what to do with them. But WWE, you know what the big stars are doing. Like, we know Cody's going to work with Nakamura for a while. Drew's going to likely go with Jey Uso. Roman Randy's probably the plan. Do we know who MJF's going to, like? Is he going to be with Joe? Is it going to be with Cole? Is it going to be whoever the devil is? Like, we don't know. There's too many things going on for me.
Would you not swing that as a positive, but in terms of unpredictability, about you don't know?
I think
you need to
too
tune
much
into
of it,
Dynamite to see what's going on.
I think there's too much of that though, because like one thing, like perfect example, like Chris Statlander, for example. Chris Statlander, the week before the match with Julia Hart and Sky Blue, she's working a tag match with two completely different women in Dynamite. She's then wrestling Mercedes Martinez and sat in the Rampage, and then Collision. She's doing something else with Orange Cassidy. Then she's got a title match. So she's got 4 different things going on in 1 week. Where's the consistency there? It's not just her.
But that's the women's division, which
Yeah,
we'll get into.
That's a
because the women's division's been a riot for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
It's the first thing Kenny Omega said, I think it was Kenny, in that presser outside. They signed Pac, they signed Hank, they signed Adam Page. One of the first things he said in that was, we're going to have the best women's division in America. At the moment, they've got the third behind Impact and WWE.
Yeah.
And it's quite a gap between second and third. I still think I'm not a big. I don't watch a lot of Impact, but everything I read and see, it's the best women's division. In WWE, you get that much show stuff. Rhea Ripley is one of the biggest stars on Raw. Charlotte Flair, stuff like that. There's a lot of wheels spinning with the women WWE. AEW women's division has been a shambles, and Britt Baker called it out on Twitter this week when she said she's not had a promo in 2023.
Yeah,
which is mental to me, because she was one of the stars of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
She was injured during the pandemic, but they still kept her on TV. Something I like.
Yeah.
And I wish they
was
would
it the
do it more
dentist
with
chair they
people.
called? Was that the site? The dentist
Yeah.
chair?
Aye. She was in a wheelchair. She had that promo with Cody, which was bad, but she was still on TV. Which I like the fact they had her on TV when she was injured.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was pandemic. Well, no one was doing anything. And the women's division needs sorted, and I don't think it ever will be sorted.
Well, I've got a list of 12 wrestlers in AEW who I really like in terms of female wrestlers, and I don't know what the plan is with them. Like, they brought in Mariah May, who I'm a big fan of. She's brilliant in Japan. Like, she is, again, she just looks to be like, they'll obviously do something with that kind of Toni Storm thing, and I think that could be a good direction. But as you said, Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, Thunder Rosa, Hikaru Shida, Rio, Toni Storm, Ruby Soho, Saraya, Sky Blue, Penelope Ford, Anna Jay, Kira Hogan, Ty Mello obviously out, Mercedes Martinez, Chris Statlander, Red Velvet. There's Julia Hart probably has been one that's been well booked, but you've got a phenomenal group of wrestlers there, and there doesn't seem to be much in the way of like a big kind of storyline going. Like, Ruby Soho's doing that thing with the JS, which I just think is a nonsense. Like, I think Sky Blue, like 1 week we think she's going with Julia Hart, and then she's now, do you know what I mean? So at a completely different direction. And I think Sky Blue and Anna Jay, I think, are the two with the most potential, but I just do not see what they're doing.
I think there's 2 names that could fix it, and they are Mercedes Moné, aka Sasha Banks, and Ronda Rousey. I'm not Ronda Rousey's biggest fan. If Tony signed, I don't like what happened. She came out and said it's not happening. But if it does, you're going to need to spend big money for the 2 of them. And Tony's not going to spend big money on 2 of them for one match a week
No.
on the top of the third quarter, which the standard women's is. So I think if he spends the money on getting those two big names in, then I think we could see an elevated women's division. But if you ask my opinion, Ronda Rousey's not going. Mercedes Moné, maybe. I'd like to see her back in WWE personally. But if her going to AEW means fix the women's division, then by all means go to Tony and take his money.
But do you think they would, like, you look at like Saraya, like her coming back from what she went through, she should be, and she won the title at Wembley, and fair enough, and that was a big moment, but where's the follow up? Where's the, like, look, we know, like, Rhea Ripley's gonna have a long term, she's probably gonna lose the title to the next big star. Saraya loses it on a Dynamite to Hikaru Shida, who was in that 4-way, and it goes back and Storm. Saraya and Tony Storm could have been like a perfect. You've got Saraya, who's obviously like brought Storm to AEW. Well, technically, like, you've got the kind of mentor thing, and Tony Storm's obviously, the character's pretty good. I don't have an issue with that, but is that not a story that could have went in that direction? Why is Hikaru Shida in the middle of that?
Yeah, she just had, was it 3 title reigns?
Yeah,
And they've all been pointless.
yeah.
Like, the only women's match I can think of that stands out is the lights out Rosa Baker
Yeah.
in the pandemic, unless I'm missing one, which I might be. But that's the only women's match I can think of that has been up there with the best matches in AEW history. And as you just referenced, there's a lot of talent there that he's not using.
Yeah. And what do you think when he says, when Triple H says in a press conference a couple weeks ago, Jade Cargill, who has been kind of somewhat 46 and 0 in AEW and looked the kind of top, she's not ready for WWE?
Yeah, I don't know about that because she was trained by Cody.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he meant by that. She was trained by Cody and Danielson. So I don't know what Triple H. I think that's just Triple H being Triple H.
Do you not think
there's much in that, really?
Do you not think it's more like maybe Triple H is looking at that? He's kind of playing up to the AEW thing, like sort of what I'm saying of, like, they think they're way bigger than what they are. Like, just because she's been a top person at that company, she's nowhere near. Now, I think Jade Cargill will win the Royal Rumble. Like, I think they'll build her up. But if he's coming out and saying that, he's either saying that for effect, or he's saying that because what they've invested in isn't delivering already. And we've seen that before. Like, Gable Stevenson's been a perfect example of that. Like, we thought we were getting this world-class athlete, and he's nowhere near what they thought he was. Now he's never been seen. So is he trying to avoid that by calling it out, or is he just kind of taking the pressure off her a wee bit?
I think that's just Triple H just trying to take a dig at AEW without really thinking that Cody trained her. Cody's now his top babyface. Danielson trained her. Danielson's one of the best, if not the best wrestler of all time. I didn't read much into that. I kind of read it. I wasn't really shocked because it's something Triple H likes to do. But I don't think there's really much in that when it comes to Jade. Like, Jade 46 and 0, but him, I could count on one hand the amount of good Jade Cargill matches.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
And I think the women's division, I don't think it'll ever be fixed because I don't think Tony cares enough to fix it.
Do you think Tony Storm's character's entertaining, or do you think it's cringy?
It's not for me.
Right.
I can understand why people like it, but I just watch it and think it's just isn't. It's not what I want to see. But I understand that some folk love it. I understand why some folk love it, but I watch it and think just isn't funny. Like, I think Tony Storm hasn't got back to the level that she was when she was in NXT UK.
Yeah.
When she was NXT UK champion.
I still rave about that Mae Young Classic match against Ripley. Was it Ripley? I think she beat in the final. I can't remember. I think it was. But that's quite bad if it's that memorable. I can't remember who she was. But she had a really good series of matches. But she has a very underrated talent. But she's obviously, I don't think somebody's told her, go and act like that. I think and that's what I quite like. And we hear about this kind of freedom of creativity, which I think is a good thing. And somebody who's kind of looking to go into the kind of promotional side of it and kind of, I think it's a real hard thing for Tony Khan to have this amount of talent and find something for all of them. Because I don't care what anybody says, he talks about like having these guys behind him. Like, we haven't seen, is there a somebody there in the background to help him, like an experienced head to kind of say, right, you've got all this talent, you've got abundance of great wrestling, great talent that you aren't doing a lot with.
Yeah, that's what he needs. He needs. Well, Vince always had a right hand man. Vince always had
Pat
a Bruce Pritchard. Before that, Pat Patterson, John Laurinaitis. The less said, the latter the better. He always had someone. Even towards the later days, he had Triple H. Now Triple H eventually took over. Vince always had someone to go to. I don't know. Jarrett's playing that role because Jarrett came in as sort of head of like. Although by looks like Danielson's playing that role because Danielson was obviously came out this week. I think we'll get on to it. That he head up the Punk firing. It was him and two other people.
I think he's been hung out to dry a wee bit on that, by the way. I get why he would be involved in that, but he's had to kind of take a lot of the stick for that recently.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, who else could he have put on?
Exactly.
If you want someone, I think getting a wrestler on board was a good idea.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So, but you can't have the EVPs because they had the scrap with Punk. Can't have Moxley because Moxley didn't like Punk. Can't have Jericho because Jericho didn't like Punk. Danielson's probably the next best bet in terms of experience head, cam head that can sort of look at things from both perspectives. Danielson's the real only option. Obviously, Danielson was with Punk at WWE and ROH and places like that. He knew Punk for years and years. So I get you saying hung out to dry, but I also don't think Tony and many other options.
Do you not think that we could have taken it on himself, and instead of like, it's at the end of the day, the buck stops with the owner.
I think Tony greenlit it, but having Tony there because Punk allegedly lunged at Tony at Wembley, I don't think that. I think Tony would have been too emotional about it, because as I said, Danielson's the only one Punk's not a scrap with.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Tony went to three. I think it was two lawyers and Danielson.
Yeah.
From what I read, so they discussed it and then went to Tony with a decision, and then Tony went, "Aye, all right, I'll sack him."
Yeah, and let's kind of move into kind of sort of, because I think you're right. I think the women's division is, I think it's not beyond repair. Like, as you say, there could be a spot, but you need to find stuff for these guys to do. Like Britt Baker, who's such an underrated talent, has not had much to do, and I just think you need that. On one positive, what I do think is a positive though that they have is they have a very good tag team division. They always will have, because if you've got FTR and the Young Bucks, and I think they're always going to
trios,
be,
but it's not as good as it was. 2021 was peak AEW tag division.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Punk Lucha's All Out 21 was my match of the year for 2021.
Yeah.
Steel cage match.
Like, but you've also got, like, as I say, you seem to have a tag team just thrown together of Big Bill and Ricky Starks, and now you've got Omega and Jericho together. Like, that seems to be your kind of program. Like, do you mean you've got House of Black there?
Talent,
yeah.
And Chris Jericho. Oh, Jericho just needs to retire.
Do you think so? Do you think he's not? Like, he's not anywhere near what he was, but I think he has been so important for, like, because he was the big name that came over for WWE. I don't think he, like, if he had started, and we'll get in, I want to touch on the EVPs because they're my biggest problem with AEW. If you had started a promotion with a TBS or a TBS network and had it All Elite. It's called All Elite Wrestling because of who's the EVPs. We get that, but if they didn't have that Jericho name power, I don't think they would have got the start they did, because Cody wasn't a big enough name until, like, obviously his second name, but he looked at that point to me to be this guy who's on an anti-WWE crusade. Now, he built himself up, but Jericho was the one where you thought, right, okay, these guys are quite a big deal now. It's not just a guy playing with his action figures, as Jim Cornette famously says. Jericho's the name who can, and there's a reason he's the first champion, to be honest.
I also think Moxley was big in that. That
Moxley was another
debut,
one, yeah, but
after Dean Ambrose left WWE the way he did, he done that Jericho podcast.
mm-hmm.
Or Jericho podcast after his debut, sorry. But I left WWE the way he did, and that horrendous storyline with Rollins. It was on a platter, and they somehow made an ass of it.
God.
The mask, the gems, bad. And then he had the Shield reunion because they needed to sell some t-shirts. And then he left under a cloud. And then he went AEW, and that pop for his debut. The picture of Omega, and then he turns around and Moxley standing behind him. At Moxley, I think getting a third of one of the biggest factions in WWE over the last decade or two, I think that was massive for them as well. And getting Jericho and Moxley as your first two big WWE signees or crossovers, it was big for them. But yeah, Jericho was good 4 years ago. He's not had a good match since. He tries to put himself with the big stars to make himself relevant. Like, he tried to pitch a match with Punk. Punk's first feud back, Jericho wanted to be that because he thinks, oh, it's Punk. I'll get eyes on me. He's now in with the Elite. Just leave the Elite. Just leave Kenny Omega alone. Let Kenny Omega be Kenny Omega rather than dragging him down. The match with Adam Cole with Sabu for some reason.
Yeah, that was
bad.
The one with Nick Gage. The one like when he went with Nick Gage and things like that, the MJF, like, what I think, like, Punk was obviously the big one as well, but I think Punk deserves his own kind of section of this. But Moxley, I still think Moxley's your big star, and now you can argue, is he putting on the best matches? As he turned into a bit of a way too much
Jericho,
of a,
you mean, sorry.
Yeah, Jericho. Has he used his kind of final years well? Nah, I don't think so. Because
did he not tap out Takeshita at a DDT show recently?
Yeah, I think he might have, yeah.
Yeah, like, what's that doing for Takeshita? Takeshita, who's great. What's that going to do for him? He turned up in Vietnam, didn't he? Over the weekend.
I just think he's got to the stage now where he's getting his talent for his cruise. Like, I think his cruise is his kind of main thing, and this is how he does it, because I don't think WWE were ever going to happily give him wrestlers for a cruise. Yeah, he turns up in Vietnam. That's bizarre. Do you think that? Well, you mentioned there Omega. I think Omega is. You can tell he's a bit of a child, and again, I think that clouds my judgment in AEW, because I think giving those guys responsibility the way they have is a massive, massive mistake. But he is one of the best in the world, and you have to use him as such.
I touched on it at the beginning. My match of the year is Omega Ospreay from Forbidden Door. I haven't felt like that watching a wrestling match in years. That kick out at one was something special. I know kick out one's kind of a overused trope, but I fell for it. I bought it hook, line, and sinker.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just why isn't Omega in this tournament?
Yeah.
Why is Jay Lethal in it and not Kenny Omega? Like, stick Kenny Omega in that tournament, and you're gonna have 4.5-star matches every week because he's Kenny Omega.
I've quite liked the tournament so far. Like as you say, Moxley Lethal I thought was fine. I thought Strickland White was brilliant. I really enjoyed that, and I've not watched all of Collision yet, but Danielson Kingston, just from what I've seen of it, it's a proper, just two properly good guys. They're kind of probably past their best in terms of what they've done, but they're still able to put on a 16-minute match, and it's just on free TV, and it's amazing.
Eddie Kingston's another one. Like, boy, what a talent he is.
Mm-hmm. The best one of the best talkers in the business.
Someone needs to tell him wrestling's fake. 'Cause I don't
Yeah.
think he knows. I don't think he understands that wrestling's no real. Everything he says is real. It feels real when he speaks, and that's rare. You don't get that with a lot of people. Get that with maybe. I think you get that with Gunter actually. Gunter is one. He doesn't speak a lot, but when he does, you can tell he means
Yeah,
it.
like Mike, like
King's,
Mr.
calling him
Mizan,
as
and I
Mike,
love
stuff like
that.
that.
I
Yeah.
love things like that. Like,
Aye, Kingston Punk. That was a 2 week build, and it was amazing.
yeah. Well, you looking at December 5th, like Collision is obviously on Tuesday. I don't know what's that about. Why is Collision on Tuesday night?
Is it?
Yeah, it's on Tuesday night. It says here December 5th. I don't know if it's. Oh, it's a tape delay. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, tape delay. But Collision and Dynamite. Then we'll start with Dynamite. Dynamite this week we're getting Swerve Strickland versus Mark Briscoe, John Moxley versus Rush, Jay White versus Jay Lethal. It's okay. It's not brilliant section of matches.
Moxley Rush will be good.
Moxley Rush will
very
be quite good. Saturday night in Collision we're getting Eddie Kingston versus Claudio Castagnoli and
Give me that.
Brian Danielson versus Andrade Idolo.
Aye, Collision. Like that's what I was saying at the beginning. It's great wrestling every week.
But is there
It's
too
that-
many shows? Is there too do we need 3 AEW shows a week?
They made 3 WWE shows every week.
No, but I think they're different. I think I don't like NXT is a completely separate entity. SmackDown's a separate. Like, do you know what I mean? We're not getting, as I say, they have their own set. Like you've got the same talent on one show. NXT don't interfere with Raw, SmackDown, and SmackDown's obviously different.
Aye, well, I mean, you were saying at the beginning that the roster's too bloated, and they were spreading over 3 shows. Now you're saying there's too many shows.
Aye, but what I mean by that, like, I'm not. I think it's too bloated in terms of. I think if you're doing 3 shows, then it's not bloated. But it wouldn't be bloated if you were having like set plans for them. Like it just seems like Del Vikingo was there a few weeks ago just for a one-off match. I think it was maybe I can't remember who it was. Was it Daniel Garcia? I think he fought. It was a 10-minute match, and I'm thinking that's top talent you've got there. Why is he just in a Collision? Have him. Omega, the Vikingo hit. That would be a match you
Kip Sabian, I think.
It could have been Kip Sabian, actually. I think it maybe was. Like, have this guy build towards something. Don't have him in for a 10-minute match and then that's him. You don't see him for another 3 months. Like, it just doesn't make sense. That's my problem. I don't think the roster's bloated. Like, the same way, like, you've got Miro, Andrade. I think Black, they finally kind of figured out what to do with that. But you've got a lot of WWE guys. Keith Lee, what are they doing with Keith Lee at the moment? Nothing.
Yeah, Keith Lee's a sad one because I love NXT Keith Lee.
NXT Keith Lee was brilliant.
Survivor Series Keith Lee with that Roman Reigns thing. Royal Rumble with Brock Lesnar. Like, where's that Keith Lee? Can we get him back?
But it's not that. It's not AEW's not. That's not exclusive to AEW. Like, it's the same. Karrion Kross, who I thought was brilliant in NXT. What are WWE doing with him? You know what I mean? Phenomenal. He's got a phenomenal pair in there with Scarlett. I think the 2 of them together we saw it in NXT, brilliant together. What are they doing with them?
Yeah, Karrion Kross isn't for me.
I like NXT Karrion Kross. I thought was brilliant. I thought it was just that the aura they had together.
Yeah, everyone's good until the bell rings.
Yeah, I can see that.
Name me a good.
I don't disagree with that. I don't overly disagree with that.
People criticise the book. We'll get back on AEW in a second, but everyone speaks about Karrion Kross and the booking of Karrion Kross. Look at his opponents. He's a Drew McIntyre, Rey Mysterio, AJ Styles, even back to NXT. He had the Mount Rushmore. He had Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, Pete Dunne, Ciampa, Keith Lee. He never had a good match. Ciampa was probably his best match, his first one.
Yeah.
But other than that, he never had a good match. So I like his entrance. PM Scarlett's great. TikTok's all great, but everything's great to the bell rings.
Yeah.
As soon as the bell rings, there's like nothing there.
Yeah. No, I get that. I don't disagree with that in terms of like everything's great until the bell rings. I get that. But what my kind of overall point with that is that like Jeff Hardy being another one. Jeff Hardy came from WWE. He's in a ridiculous storyline at the moment with his brother. Like that is, do you know what I mean? Jeff Hardy's still got name value in 2023. Now, is he the Jeff Hardy of 5 years ago? No, he isn't. But he shouldn't be Do you know what I mean? He could work with those guys. He could be in a big program.
Jeff Hardy was when I first started watching. I first saw it in 2009. My two favourite were Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy when I first started watching.
Mhm.
But I love Jeff Hardy, but you cannot trust the bloke.
No, you can't.
You gave him a title match 3 days for a title match. It gets done for DUI
Yeah.
again. You can't trust the bloke. I think we'll get into Tony because I've got some opinions on Tony. But that's one thing that I don't blame him for. I don't blame him for not pushing Jeff Hardy because you can't trust them. You can give him a title match and you don't know what's going to happen. You give a match with Darby Allin, who's taking stupid bumps,
Yeah.
which probably didn't help him. Like, everyone wants to see Jeff Hardy be Jeff Hardy, but you can't trust him.
No, I get that.
I don't blame Tony for that one at all.
Do you think there's anybody in AEW at the moment that can be doing so much like is that you would, if you were Tony Khan, you would look at and go, right, I'm going to make a project out of you?
Miro.
Yeah.
Miro. Like, he's like, it's not, this storyline is just a small step below Bobby Lashley in WWE. Without the wedding and stuff. It's Lana or CJ Perry now go win another bloke to try and make Rusev or Miro jealous. And that's exactly what happened to WWE with less weddings. Like, it's Harwan Andrade trying to make Miro jealous. Like, you've got Miro. Miro is still, for me, the best TNT champion of all time. Christian Cage is pretty close to him at the moment. But Miro's TNT title run's great. Like, the match he won against Darby Allin was, I think, a very underrated match.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
That spot the end where Darby Allin shook Sting's hand. Like, I know I'm not beat here, but fair play. He shook Sting's hand and Miro kicked him in the head. Where's that Miro? Can we get him back?
Yeah. No, I agree. Anybody else?
I get Eddie Kingston, Keith Lee. Like, we've already touched on them, but they're all great talents. That Eddie Kingston used to be manning to beat MJF.
No.
And now I think it's between Swerve and wait till Wembley and have Ospreay beat him at Wembley. Could do that.
Yeah.
Or you give it to Joe at the end of the year, and then that kind of then keep MJF off telly, and then people think, oh, his contract expired.
Could you imagine like there could be a wee bit of hit? Like, imagine, I think he'd be the sort of person like, yeah, lose it at World's End, and then you don't hear a word from him for months, and then the day before the Royal Rumble, wherever it is, he's in, like, somebody sees him in San Antonio or something like that. But
It's
he's
that
actually
kind of
that. Can you imagine the buzz that would create?
Why don't you just have someone leak it to Sean? Have someone leak to Sean or Dave that MJF's on top of WWE.
Yeah. Because
just use the dirt sheets to build a futile storyline. Because I think they can do it.
Yeah. What do you think of so I'm just looking here, like Keith Lee's there, like Juice Robinson coming for, like, he's another XWE guy. The Guns are very underrated. Jay White, like that Bullet Club Gold and Elite Feud writes itself, but they haven't seemed to make it work.
I've actually been quite impressed with booking the Jay White. So I thought when Jay White came in, I think Jay White going to AEW was a mistake.
Yeah.
At the time, but no, I've been quite. Although the build to the main event at Full Gear wasn't good.
No,
like, I don't understand it. It was just like I never done anything. I never achieved anything. The Full Gear, but no, overall I've been quite impressed with the Jay White thing. Because I thought Jay White was going to come in and be another Keith Lee.
Yeah.
But no, he's been top. He's been near the top of the card, and I've been quite impressed with him.
What's your kind of thoughts on Tony?
I've got a lot of thoughts on Tony, but I think we can go. I think these two things go hand in hand, and the two of the biggest ones. And I think CM Punk is handling this entire CM Punk thing was a shambles. I think I said it on a previous podcast, like Tony's sitting there at the presser while CM Punk slaughtered the entire top of his card. Tony sat there like an embarrassment and just let him speak. Like, see, I don't like. We've spoken about WWE a wee bit, but see if Punk sat next to Vince or Triple H.
Yeah, I know.
What do you think happens?
I
Like,
don't think the press conference lasts as long.
No, he's
Like,
getting dried out by his ear.
Nah, they'll just cut the mic. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even like, but it wouldn't get to that because Punk wouldn't be confident that Punk knew he would get away with that.
Oh, aye.
Like
Yeah.
that was the problem. Like I think, like now, I have been very critical of Tony Khan for putting the Bucks and Omega in positions of power because it's the old booking thing, isn't it? It's all given Ric Flair and Kevin Nash the book in WCW.
Right.
They are not interested in the priority. Do you know what I mean? The priority isn't right. Let's make the best show possible. The priority is naturally where's the best place for us on the card.
I don't think it's as similar because I don't think the elite have the egos that Hogan or Nash did. Because if they had the egos that they did, I think Omega would still be champ, and I think the Bucks would still be tag champs. So I don't think Tony's got the presence or power to put his foot down when it comes to the elite. Like giving them, I remember who was it? One of the shows Sean Rossap does, and the owner, the Fightful Jimmy Van, I think his name is.
Yeah,
He's quite good at the business stuff. I like listening to him, and he said at the very beginning, giving wrestlers power is a bad idea.
yeah, absolutely.
Like in the Punk thing, like see if you water it down to the basics. You had 3 members in a position of power, kicking the door down allegedly of a employee and having a fight. See if you water it down. That's exactly. Imagine that happened in your work at my work. Like given I still don't know why he done it. Like Omega's been good at the games, although Fight Forever was a shambles. It's been a fun game to play, but it took about 2 years to come out.
You know, I've not bought it. I'm not.
No, I played it. I've actually got it. It is actually quite fun to be fair. But like, I don't know what role does the Bucks actually play?
Apparently the belts. Apparently the thing as well is that a lot of the guys like merchandise and marketing and all that are their pals for school. But I think one of their wives is like the top of the merchandise role. But
Aye.
that's not uncommon. Like, do you know what I mean? That if you're in a position, you're going to look at. I get that, but where am I? Like, for example, like hearing it, like All In. I want like when we heard that Punk was coming back in Collision, like I said, right, Punk FDR against the Bucks and Omega at Wembley. That is where you go. Doesn't matter how you get there. You do that. You make that your priority. Omega is in a match with Jericho and Ibushi against the Callis. Oh no, sorry, that was after that was All Out. All In. It was Omega fight. I forget. That's bad.
It was a 6-man.
It was a 6. Was it Page and Ibushi?
Yeah, it was Omega,
Page
Ibushi versus the Callis family.
Yeah, but like Omega should be doing no disrespect to who he was in there with because they're top wrestlers, but Punk and Joe, yeah, we've seen it, but that's not. Do you know what I mean? Punk and FDR versus the Young Bucks and Omega. That was the way to go. Now, you're not sitting down with the Young Bucks and saying, right, you have to set up to meet Punk. If you're Tony Khan, you're telling them you're wrestling CM Punk and FDR with Kenny Omega and your side because that is what I want to do. That is going to make us the most money. Now, if your EVPs, as Punk says, responsible EVPs, you make that work because that is going to make the most eyes in the product because people are going to want to see that because this has been the story for a year that there's backstage drama and now we're going to see it in real life. That's how the best wrestling angles. Matt Hardy and Edge we still talk about because it was a bit of real life.
Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels.
Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels.
Although that kind of ended badly, but you know what I mean.
But but the whole point of it is that the story writes itself, but because they think that they're better than everybody, nah, we're not going to beat the Punk. We're going to throw this away. We're going to instead just do a match with FTR, which is fine. Any FTR Young Bucks match is always going to be one that you'll tune into, but that could have been so much different.
I was reading sort of looking up some interviews and stuff. I would go Mr. AEW and John Moxley said, I was at Indy for 8 years, WWE for 8 years, and I've been here for 3, and I've never seen so much trap man in my life in 3 years here. Like, you hear about stories all the time. Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa's another one. They don't like each other. But like wrestlers they're never gonna like each other.
No,
Like not everyone's gonna like each other. Like I bet you don't like people in your work.
no.
I don't like people in my work. But we work together because we have to. Because we get told to.
Yeah.
Like you should be able to put your egos aside to have the best match, make the best money. Like I do think Tony being a big wrestling fan has been a positive and a negative. Big WCW mark. He signed Ric Flair. That's another thing we could generally go 3 hours on this podcast.
Easily.
Ric Flair. Like Ric Flair's been here for a month.
But the Ric Flair thing
makes
makes
sense. He's already at he does like energy drink.
It makes sense from that. Like if he's like marketing for energy drink, yeah, but do not have him anywhere near on air. Do it once.
Don't give him a mic.
Nah, do it
Did
once.
you hear about the line he cut out of Rampage?
I heard about it, yeah. I haven't seen it, but I heard about it, yeah.
No, they cut it out, but bloody hell. He gave Ric Flair a live mic, and one of the first things he said, he's asking 18-year-old girls to go back to his bedroom. Rick, man.
So, but like, we haven't really touched on attendance and ratings, but I think it's important. Like, I don't remember attendance being as vocal as what it's been recently. Like, I haven't, like, are they playing into, and again, are they looking at WWE going, right, we can beat them in attendance? No, you can't. Play smaller venues. That's simple. That to me writes itself. You aren't going to get WWE numbers, but Dynamite still does fine. Dynamite still does solidly 800,000. I would say that's good for a non-WWE wrestling promotion. Like TNA would have killed for numbers like that.
Right, but TNA, when they try to go up against Raw, we're getting what 100, 200k.
Yeah, but they're going up against Raw. They're going up against a product. It doesn't matter if you've got Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Kurt Angle. WWE's like a product that's been there for so long. You know what I mean? People are going to naturally just go to that.
And the first thing that, am I right in saying, I don't know if I get my timeline mixed up, the first thing that Vince done when he found out that TNA was going up against Raw was bring Bret Hart back.
Yep, that was the 4th of January 2010.
That was one of the first things he done.
Yeah.
So WWE have always got this. WWE have always got the thing they can dip in and pull rabbit out of the hat and beat you in the ratings. Like NXT happens AEW. Give Cena a call. Give Taker a call.
Yeah.
Give Cody a call. And he battered them. So I don't see that. And even last week, Rampage and Collision up against Survivor Series, give CM Punk a call. Like that WWE always I've got a back catalogue of about 1 million old men they can pull out of a hat and pull in a rating. AEW don't have that. AEW probably never have that. Maybe in 30, 40 years. But they don't have that now. They won't have that for a good while. They won't have a break glass in case of emergency button like WWE have. Like, it's never going to be... They're never going to be... I don't know if they probably will never be number one.
No.
But they can be number one for a bit.
And there's nothing wrong with not being number one, though. All you want is... Like, for so long, we've been starved of an alternative, like a good alternative. When AEW started, WWE was a nonsense. Like, some of the stories, like, you remember the infamous, like, Bobby Lashley 3 sisters thing. Like, that was what we were... That's what we were conditioned to.
For sure, Hell in a Cell 2019 was 2 weeks before Dynamite started.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks after, wasn't it? It was around about that time.
No, I think that would have made sense, but yeah, because AEW, that Dynamite debut, that would have been right. That would have been right.
Aye, run it, but then.
But
So I mean, what Bucks, you know what Bucks like on Twitter? Pros. Like, as soon as that, not long after that match, they put on Twitter, tune into Dynamite on TNT.
But you know, do you think the way they're going with like terms of like trolling, like Ken doing victory laps and things like that, do you think that helps the product? Do you think that just makes people like us just think you're fucking stupid? Like,
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one because I don't have a massive issue with the WWE digs. I find something quite funny. The MJF one recently was weird. I don't know that about Samoa Joe. Like, do you know that one? He went, you never got a chance. You never got a chance in the WWE. He main evented pay-per-views with Brock Lesnar. I don't know what
yeah,
more chance you want. The one of the
yeah,
best Fatal 4 matches I've ever seen at
Mhm.
SummerSlam. It was him, Brock, Roman, and Braun. Great fun.
That's right. Yeah,
I watched that recently. A great time. So I don't like some of them digs don't make sense. Some of the Punk ones were funny, but like you're
the
a less
punk
famous
the punk
Miz.
one with the less famous Miz and Triple H, the Triple H one as well. Like he would just bring in like King of Kings into it. Like that was when AEW was brilliant. Like that's when
Punk,
like
Punk going. You need to wait for you to grow up to have for
I
Tony
thought
to
of,
have a daughter you can marry.
but they're not like nobody's writing that. So I mean
No,
that's what I think wrestling should be. It should be like I don't think we see it as much now in WWE, but like some of the promos in the past like were horrendous, and I don't think it's as bad now.
no,
There's a bit more
suffering
freedom.
sucker fish.
Yeah, like we see. I really think we are in. Like, do you know what I mean? We've got like for us, like we love talking wrestling. We've got Raw on a Monday. We've got NXT on a Tuesday, Dynamite Wednesday, SmackDown Friday, a premium live event. Probably like going forward once every 2 weeks because AEW are going to be doing 12 a year.
Aye,
So we're going to there's so much content now, and I don't think it's a bad thing. But where I think AEW should just calm down a bit is just go right. We're not number one. Let's stop pretending we're even looking at being number one. Let's just be the best version of AEW. Let's, as I say, if it takes putting a roster. I mean, they brought out a third show because I think that Collision was only brought out because they didn't want Punk and Dynamite. They wanted him away from. Do you know what I mean?
aye.
Like, that's
And that showed because Punk was only on one Dynamite when he came back.
and now
That was
what do
one
you
of the
do
elite
with
one he
it?
on.
What do you
That
do
was one of
with
the
it?
elite one he on. Aye.
Like,
The best thing I can say about AEW, best way I can put it in football terms. Man United will be number one in Manchester, but Man City at the moment are the better one. But Man United have got the history, but Man City have got better product at the moment.
mhm.
Probably not far off. Man City don't have best tendencies, but they got better product.
Yeah,
It's probably not far off between WWE and AEW. It's Man United and Man City. You think
no,
about it.
don't think so.
It's like I think Tony needs to calm down with the signings. I think Will Ospreay, yeah, it needs to sign Will Ospreay. Will
That's
Ospreay's
a
a free
no-brainer.
agent. You sign
That's a
Will Ospreay.
no-brainer. Yeah, and there's going to be a
Mercedes
lot of
money.
guys. There's going to be a
You
lot of guys coming up in 2024. So, but are they looking at that going right? What are you doing with Andrade? What are you doing with Miro? These guys who were criminally underused in WWE? Are we going to suffer the same thing because there's a way too much? What do you know what I mean? There's 12 guys in the tournament, and Miro,
Aye.
Andrade aren't involved in it. Well,
Like,
Andrade is, sorry, but like,
there's a lot of contracts up 2024.
yeah,
One that a WWE contract that I think that's up that I don't know. I think she'll end up re-signing is Becky Lynch.
yeah,
If you can get Becky Lynch, you get Becky Lynch.
yeah.
If you get Mercedes money, you get Mercedes money. If you can build a women's division and Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch in AEW, then I think you're onto a winner. Because Tony's not going to, they're not going to be cheap. Back to what I was saying about like Ronda Rousey and stuff, they're not going to be cheap.
No,
So if you're spending that money, you need to see a return on your investment by booking Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch or Mercedes money versus whatever Becky Lynch will go by.
yeah.
And then I think Sheamus is up as well. I don't know.
He could go. I wouldn't be
I
surprised
love
if he went.
Sheamus, but Sheamus is there's not a lot of people like Sheamus
No,
in AEW.
And he's kind
There
of
are a
done
lot of
everything he can in
technical
WWE,
wrestlers.
isn't he? Like, he's not done. He's like same with Edge. Really, like, that's kind of one of the reasons I was like, Edge to AEW makes a lot of sense, because there's not really much more he can do. Like, he's had the
No.
match where, like, he's kind of come back and had matches with who he wanted him to. Like, he done. I don't know if he fought Kevin Owens, did he? That was the only one I was like, that would have been good. He might have, but I can't
Edge, yeah.
remember.
No, I don't think it did. I don't
But we'd
think
seen the Edge AJ, which was good. Roman was good. Seth Rollins, brilliant. Hell in a Cell, I still think was a brilliant match. The Finn Balor,
Aye.
that was the way to do it. Like, do you know what I mean? He had.
I'm convinced that feud's still going on. Edge
Mhm.
versus Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's the longest feud in the world. He lost and went away for 3 months, came back and lost again, then went away again, and then lost and came back.
Yeah. No, I mean it's been intriguing. We've covered a lot of AEW. We're going to do the next episode. We're going to look at. We're going to do our year-end awards. We're going to send. I'll send you over a list in the next couple of days, and we can put it down to 6, and we'll get it sorted. But no, I'm looking forward to that. It's been a pleasure to go through AEW with you, Scott. Thanks very much, and we'll see you soon.
Aye, just watch you guys. See you later.
Thank you. See you later, folks. Bye.